guys, welcome back to Cooking and Growing with the Frisbees. I'm Beth, Keith is behind the camera.
Yodi-do.
Good Lord. Today is a big weekend, Super Bowl weekend, but today is going to be all about growing. Tomorrow will be about cooking. I'm making this new recipe I've never done before, which is sirloin bites with a Parmesan cream sauce.
Yum.
Yum, how could
Parmesan
that be bad?
and garlic, like,
yeah,
on steak bites. How can you, what?
We'll see. All right, so I will admit I am a little bit behind already. So today is the 8th of February, and these seeds were supposed to be in the pots on January 29th. So not too far behind, but
a week.
Work gets in the way sometimes.
No biggie.
So you might be saying to yourself, Beth, why in the world would you wear a white shirt and white tennis shoes to plant seedlings? Because I did the hard part first. And I got all my pots ready with, let me get it. I want to show you what I'm using. And this is what I used last year. I ran out of it last year and I used something else to plant the second set of seeds, and they did not like it, and the majority of them did not take. So I am going to stick with this. It works well. Not adding anything to it, just filling up pots. I dump it all into a big 5-gallon bucket, and I just keep adding water until it's nice and spongy, and then put them in the trays. So we've got a couple of things going on now. What do we got? Okay, so first off, marigolds. Now, I know what you're gonna say. I said it to myself. Beth, why are you gonna do this to yourself again when you can just go buy them? Because I am bound and determined to get my own marigolds, because I do have seeds that I purchased from Johnny's. They are usually my go-to, but I also have seeds I saved. Now, these are from 2023. Seeds are good for about 5 years, so there should be no problem with me planting these. So I'm going to take half of them out from my seeds and half of them from Johnny's seeds, and we'll see which one does better. But for these guys, I think also, I did watch some YouTube videos on how you should plant them, and I think I did it wrong last time. So let me show you what I'm gonna do. My trusty
paintbrush.
It makes the best little holes for seeds.
Is there an artist in the house?
Okay. So, see how these guys are? They're long and skinny. Last year, I planted them with the black part down into the soil. This time, just gonna lay them on their side. Can you see that? See? Just like a little bed.
That's hard to see. Let me see if I can zoom in on that.
Yeah, they are hard to see. They're small. So.
Oh, okay, I see it.
And the other thing that they prefer is very little soil over top. So just enough to cover them up with. So this is the technique we're going with today. And we'll see. These particular seeds are from one of those big headed marigolds. Okay, these guys cover them up a little bit. All right, so that's from the big headed marigolds that I saved previously. And last year they did not take, not a single one. So I will not be deterred. I will try again.
Hey, you know what? Some years are just better than others. Like the first 3 years of our garden, or 2 years of our garden, we got no kale. And then all of a sudden, from out of nowhere.
These guys are little.
What are these? Those are Johnny's?
These are from Johnny's, yes. I need to cover them up right as I do them because I'm losing them in the dirt when I put them down. So this is 8 marigolds. If I get 2, I'll be super happy. It is the one thing that I do spend money on because marigolds are so healthy for your garden. I will go out and buy the ones that are already started at the local store. I have a local feed store that has a gun range and tons of garden flowers, and they do a beautiful Mother's Day.
What a great combination. Guns and flowers.
Guns and flowers, why not? Okay, so.
Is that like Guns and Roses?
He's so funny.
I'm quick.
All right, what are we doing next? Oh, I have some leeks here. Why am I starting leeks? Because, so last year, we really enjoyed the leeks.
Yeah. And our recipes, they were good.
Yeah, so I only have 2 pots of them. I can do leeks outside, but my hope is that I'm going to start them inside and that I can transfer them outside. So they'll have a head start, and then I can succession sow direct into the ground. So let me see what it says here. So leeks, you can start them indoors in late January, or if you want to plant direct sow outside, you can do it in March. So that's the idea, is that I'll go ahead and do these. Oh my gosh, these seeds are small too. It didn't go in the hole.
How would you know?
I can actually see.
I'm glad that you could see that, because
Yeah.
I cannot.
And they are.
Look
They're
how
very
tiny
small.
those seeds are. Wow, those
Getting
are
them
tiny.
stuck under my fingernails.
It still always amazes me, and I know I say it every year. You guys get tired of hearing me say it, but
It's so cool.
those tiny little seeds grow into amazing food, and
They do.
it's just not that difficult to do.
And think about these seeds. So Johnny's is about, for a regular packet, is about $4.99, $5.99, depending on the seed. These came in, I got 50 seeds with this one. And within 95 days, I should have a complete plant that I can eat. 50 seeds, 95 days. Food. Okay.
It's becoming increasingly important, folks. Like groceries, inflation, groceries, all the tariffs, wars, and things that are going on, so we can't get imports in the country. Like, until they settle all this, this is a great opportunity for you guys to start a garden. And just start small. Start with pots.
So it's funny that you mention that. So with my gardening, when I get excess, and I have some friends in the office, and I will bring them some of my leftover vegetables that maybe have been sitting on the counter for a little bit too long and need to be eaten. And so they got really into it. And one of my friends, Tori, is actually going to try and start a garden this year. So I gave her some of my seeds, and I'm going to grow a couple of things that are better to start indoors. That being tomatoes, peppers, and some herbs, depending on the herb. I'm giving her basil and thyme. So those are best started indoors to be able to really get your bang for your buck. So, oops. These are zinnias. Zinnias are another one that there's a little bit bigger, easier to see. Zinnias are another one that they volunteer in our garden every year. So
They do. They pop up everywhere.
yeah, they're huge.
Even where I supposedly have weed blocker down. Guess
Yeah,
I didn't
well,
do a good job with that.
I was just gonna say it's kind of old. The other piece to that too is, so it's weed blocker and then rock on top of it. But the problem with that is our cherry tomatoes and our zinnias, at the end of the season, they just fall off to the ground. Like, they're they rot away on the ground, I guess. And so they just pop up next year. So they're actually growing from the top down. So your weed blocker is got nothing on them. Sorry to say.
Nature finds a way. That's all I can tell you.
It really does. Now I'm going to do thyme. Thyme for me, I know you've got a joke in there somewhere.
Nope,
honey.
not going to do it. Not going to do it. It's too easy.
So thyme for me is one of those herbs that I use a lot of. And when I can have fresh thyme, I will take it every time.
Wasn't me.
I had to. And last year I got tons. I had 4 really healthy big plants, and I did dry some of it. It's just a pain in the rear end. I'm just gonna tell you like it is, because drying it, the leaves are great to pull off of the stems, but drying them, it's very hard to separate them once it's dry, and it was kind of a mess. I still kept it, of course, because it's still very yummy and flavorful. All right, so thyme. God, these seeds are beyond tiny.
I just don't even think I can get that close. The
Yeah.
camera's just gonna. I think the camera's gonna see your fingerprints before it sees those.
Right? So this is a different one. This is burpees, and this one is relatively, it's a little bit older. This is from 22. So this will be the last year that I use this seed packet probably. Some of my thyme will come back. Some of it won't. I'm just hoping and praying that I'm getting
Do you
some.
harvest your thyme seeds? I don't remember you doing it.
No. Do you see how small they are?
I do.
Like, I don't know. And the same thing with my basil. What I do to my basil is similar to what I do with my lettuce, is I let my basil sprout and flower, and then it just falls to the ground. So I have volunteer basil every year, just about every year. Actually, I'm just going to do this. Okay. Yeah, so like the basil seeds are a little bit easier to see once the flowers have dried, and I just shake them as when I'm pulling the plant up. I'll just shake them onto the ground, and usually I get volunteer basil, and that's what I love. All right, so this is not as jam-packed with cups as some of them usually are, but it's all good. So you see I have my warming racks all set up. Keith got them ready for me, and then we got an extra one again this year. You can see, although I am getting ready to plant some more peppers, this is what we have overwintered. So we have 2 of each. We have jalapenos, poblanos, red cherry Italian, and which one am I missing?
Jalapeno.
Jalapeno!
Bell pepper?
Oh, and a bell pepper, yes. We did get some new bell pepper seeds this year. My sister gifted me a gift certificate to Johnny Seeds. Always a good
The gift that
present.
keeps on giving.
Always a great present for a gardener. And so what we noticed last year is the bell peppers that we grew were really good for cooking. They just weren't that great. They didn't have that sweetness to them like the red and orange that you buy at the grocery store.
No.
So we did go ahead and we got, it's called Flavor Burst. So we got that from Johnny's this year. So this packet, again, was about $4.99. They're about $5. This one only has 25 seeds, but they go from green to yellow in 87 days. So between the ones that we like that we have back here for cooking, and these ones hopefully will really end up with some yummy. So I'm going to go ahead and move this. Oops, a couple of them fell over. And the way that I've been keeping these trays moist is simply by giving them water every day. You see they have a heating pad underneath them. So that will start to help draw out some of the water in the cups. So I just make sure I keep them watered. These peppers were actually, you don't water them because
they
need to think
they're in stasis.
Exactly.
They're just stasis. It's just keeping them alive.
And we did it last year, and it was very successful, and I was super, super happy about it.
Yeah, those plants started producing fast.
Right away.
It was hot as well. Like it went from spring to summer before Memorial Day.
Yeah. This, I think, though, is going to be one of those false springs where we're going to end up getting back down into the 30s and 40s, but I won't wish that on myself. So these here are a tiny little Thai red pepper. So they got some heat to them, but I just thought they were so pretty. My neighbor Navi next door grew them, and so she gave me some of them just to keep the seeds. And I just thought, so we have that other one, what's that little yellow pear one?
Oh, I don't remember the name.
That's full of seeds, but
we don't eat it.
It's so pretty though.
Yeah.
I just go ahead and let it grow. Okay, so these
they
are
volunteered last year.
Yeah, and they probably will again this year. So I'm only doing, because these are really mostly decorative, I'm only doing 2 pots of them. But I'll plant 4 seeds and we'll see what comes up. I've grown peppers from saved seeds before, so I know that they can be pretty easy to do. So that's the little Thai ones. What else do we have? Jalapeno on a seed. So even though I have 2 jalapenos, I'm gonna go ahead and grow some more. This is another one of those that I'm giving to Tori. So one will be for Tori. I'm so excited for her to have a garden. She's always been about going to local farms where she lives and you know, picking when they open and allow you to go in like with your own basket and pick as much as you want, and then you just pay by the weight. And oh, these are our jalapeno seeds. So yeah, so she really enjoys going to working farms and getting fresh veggies for herself and her adult son. They live together. So she got herself a little terraced garden. So it's got different levels. Oh my gosh, they're getting stuck under my nails. We should have some music. And again, I would have to talk over it.
I'm going to say,
Get in the hole.
you can always turn Alexa on over there. Alexa's everywhere in our home.
That's true. Oops, I need one more. I miscounted. Get in the hole. There we go. Need one more. They're still little. Not as small as the thyme and the basil, but they're still quite small. There we go. Okay, jalapenos, check. Bell peppers, okay. I told you I was doing one for Tori too. So again, even though we have 2, those are the 2 that I wouldn't say we don't like, because I still use them to cook when I'm cooking. They just seem like they needed flavor added to them.
They're very earthy.
I guess that's a good way to put it.
I mean, the other peppers, you know, that we were purchasing that we're trying this year are the ones that you would slice and serve on a charcuterie board. Like tomorrow, we're hosting a little Super Bowl thing, and you'd slice those up and put them on the board along with carrots and celery to dip them in some ranch dressing or something. And they have a good flavor. It's a sweet flavor. Those other ones, they were thin, the skin was extremely thin, and they were very earthy, so they were great for mixing with onions, sauteing with onions and garlic and putting them over a steak or something like that. Great flavor for that, but not to eat on its own raw. Sorry. And we had plenty.
We did. And I did cook and freeze some. Mm-hmm. Just because.
Yes, this morning I had some poblanos in my eggs.
Oh, that's true, you did.
Yes. One of them was a little hot. When I swallowed it, I was like, oh, it caught me.
That's the funny thing. I think jalapenos are kind of the same too. They can be super hot or relatively mild, and every year is different.
Yeah.
Some years I get some.
But we've done,
spicy.
I think we have done a really good job over the years of learning how to harvest and store.
Yeah.
Beth we still have tomatoes that are cored and frozen in our freezer.
I have 3 gallons of them.
Yeah. And we've already made sauces and chili but, I'm not going to complain, but what we normally would do is put a table out in our driveway and just, everybody help yourself, post on our neighborhood Facebook page, but not being selfish, just being efficient. If you grow it, use it.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see, what are these? These are poblanos. These are poblanos. Like these are bell. Okay, we already did the new bell. We have the 2 of the old, and then we'll do the new. And these are poblanos. I wrote on here, yes!
Yeah, Peppergate.
Oh my God,
we had more
it was
poblanos.
so
If you go back and look
funny.
at some of our videos, if you follow us, and please consider subscribing. There's some very useful things out there along with our cooking. But there were no poblanos, and last year there were more poblanos than we knew. Beth was like, what are you going to do with those? And I said, I just feel bad not picking them.
I know. And he would pick them and bring them in and leave them on the counter. And
I don't know. It felt a shame, and I guess, we were very busy, so, being able to giving them to neighbors and things like that wasn't really a reality last year because of Serena's wedding. So it was hyper focused on that, and then I wasn't feeling well. I got pneumonia, and it just...
It happens. Okay, so these are the little red Italian cherry peppers.
Oh, they were good.
They are very good. And I do have 3, even though we have 2. And I still have jars of them. We pickle them, and then I stuff them with a sausage, any kind of sausage, and mozzarella. The little mozzarella balls.
So good.
They're delicious, and I put them on charcuterie boards, and oh my gosh, they're so delicious.
Everybody loves them. And when we first harvested them, before Beth researched what she was going to do down that road, we were like, I'm not so sure we're going to use these. And then Beth tried that, and we were off to the races.
It was a hit.
Yeah, it was a hit. Big hit.
And unpickled, they can be a little tart.
Yeah.
And they're very seedy. So even to seed them, I use melon baller to seed them. And that works great, but it's still a bit of a chore. So again, I'm doing 2 seeds per, seeds per
Guess
pot.
what else we're doing this year? So I was sitting there last night, and Beth and I have always had this conversation about corn. And I came across, I get emails from Burpee and Johnny's, and I looked at it, and they were talking about corn. And Burpee said this is the first corn that they've done that you can grow in pots, and it's very hardy. I know, we've tried before, but the other thing that we learned when we were watching a program was start them inside. Don't direct sow them, because they can't go outside until the soil is warm enough. So we're going to give it a try. You know what?
And I'm okay. I'm good with trying it again. The 2 times I did corn, they said minimally you have to have at least 8 ears of corn, and they have to be sown 2 feet apart. That's a lot of real estate.
8 plants, you mean?
8 plants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a lot of real estate.
That's for a raised bed gardener where every little bit counts.
Yeah, it's not like we have acres and acres. Now, we will at some point. That's one of our goals this year is to find some property and start doing this on a little bit of a larger scale. And then maybe have a stand at the end of the property. That's the hope. It's hard to come by, but we're searching.
Yeah, and that's not to say that we're going to have acres and acres and cornfields and stuff like that. But I would definitely want a high tunnel.
Oh, a high tunnel and dedicate some spots to potatoes and sweet potatoes and things like that, garlic.
I really feel like the high tunnel, it really helps manage the weather and the climate. So we know Georgia gets super hot in the summer months, and as you guys have seen, we put shade cloths for some of the tomatoes that it really helps be able to keep them growing so they don't just burn up.
Yeah, they don't get scorched and curl up.
Yeah, so
a high tunnel will be
high
fun.
tunnel will help with that.
And it helps with pests a little bit, right?
It helps a little bit with pests as well. I mean, you certainly, there's no bird's eye view for those guys that want to come and eat your corn or whatever it is that you're growing. And same goes for like those horn green worms, those really big, gross ones.
Those little buggers.
Yeah. Well, we've been very fortunate. And I think that part of it is the shade cloth.
I think it's shade cloth. It keeps the butterflies from laying the eggs. And I think the other part of it is that you plant basil in between.
And it's supposed to deter them.
Right.
And I grow a lot of basil because I use a lot of basil. I actually went to the grocery store and bought basil. But I know, but I really wanted fresh basil. I can't remember what I made. But I remember, like, I needed it so bad I went to the grocery store and bought it.
It's not cheap.
I don't remember what I paid for it, and it wasn't even the leaves of basil. It was like already chopped up.
You came home and you're like, oh my God, this was like $6 for
I
this
couldn't,
little packet.
and I was frustrated. I think it was more than
we
that.
have so much in the backyard. Like,
Usually I have and I do dehydrate my basil and crush it up, but there's just something about that.
a fresh leaf, yeah. I'm one that when I go out in the garden, I'll just snatch a leaf off and rub it to get the oils going and just smell.
Oh, it just smells so good.
Really
I know.
does.
I like to pick it, especially when we have tons and tons of it. I'll pick it and just put it up on the counter inside. It just
smell
smells so good.
Until Pepper gets to it.
All right, there we go, guys. I still have some open spots, which is fine. That's good. And I am due for another round of these, right? So my next plant will be, so January was all in the green. Looks like February 12th is my next plant, and that is coming right up. So that'll be arugula, eggplant, kale. I got some new kale. Sage, although I think my sage is doing very well. If it's still doing well, I may not plant that. But then it's tomato time.
Oh my God, that's right, tomato time. I forgot. Yeah, I was not even really paying attention. I'm so busy filming and trying to make sure that backlight doesn't screw with the camera. But you didn't plant tomatoes today. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which you got some tomato cages, some new cages. That
I did. This was a great steal. This was in Danny and Enid's neighborhood. One of their neighbors had picked them up, I think at a going out of business sale. I think that's kind of what he does for money, extra money. But he had boxes of 10 of these wire cages for 10 of them for $50. And usually it's 4 for $50, or some of them even 3. And I know these are the galvanized steel ones, but they work well. And this year, I don't know if I've mentioned it yet, but this year for my pepper plants, I'm going to do individual cages. I tried again last year to use the Florida line. One, I think I overplanted the bed. and two, they each were so barren with fruit that they were just falling over, like on top of each other, on top of the other and the other. And you just didn't even know, you were just putting your hand in there and picking stuff, and you didn't even know what you were coming out with. So I'm going to do a better job with that this year. We do have some new beds that I can utilize, so it's going to be fun. But that's it for today, for our lesson in planting your indoor seed.
I can't believe it's almost time.
I know. I'm so excited though. Like, this warm weather has been really getting me itchy to do it. We're going to do this outside at my planting bench, but unfortunately the weather has turned on us a little bit. So even though it's going to be around 60, it's not the sunny and 72 they told us it was going to be.
Lies.
So
I think weather people don't forecast anymore. I think they report weather.
They wake up in the morning, look out the window.
Yeah, I'm going to be.
This is what we're going to do today.
I'm going to be a weatherman. I'm going to look out the window and I'll start reporting weather. You guys let me know what you think.
Oh boy. All right. Well, thanks for coming on this journey with me today, and we will see you soon.
Good luck, guys.